My name is Isabella. I'm 31 years old. I live alone in a small apartment in Barcelona, just off a busy street with cafes and scooters that never seem to sleep. I work as an associate project manager at a tech startup near the Gothic Quarter. Every morning, I take the same metro line, line 3. I sit in the same seat, second car from the front. I carry the same worn leather satchel my mother gave me. I listen to the same playlist, mostly soft French jazz and lo-fi beats. My life was built on routines, and for a long time, I liked it that way. It made me feel safe, but things began to change last December. It was a rainy Monday when my manager, Mr. Laurent, called me into his glass-walled office. He looked exhausted, his eyes dark and voice flat. "Isabella," he said, "you'll be leading the launch of our new mobile app in January." I froze. I had never led a full project. I had always supported other team leads, not been the lead. But Mr. Laurent said the team trusted me. He said it would be good for my growth. At first, I was excited. I made outlines, timelines, and checklists. I scheduled calls with our partners in Berlin and Mumbai. I answered emails late into the night. I wanted to prove I could do it, but within 2 weeks, cracks began to show. The UX designer in Munich was behind schedule. The developer in Tokyo misinterpreted the user requirements. The investors wanted changes constantly. My team, mostly newer hires, weren't listening. Or maybe they didn't trust me yet. Every day I stared at my screen until my eyes blurred. My espresso went cold. My lunch remained untouched. I stopped. Replying to friends' texts, I told them I was just busy. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. I was tired, more tired than I had ever been. Each morning, I got up like a machine, showered, combed my hair, put on my coat, but inside. I felt like I was quietly unraveling. One Thursday, everything collapsed. We had a video call with a major client from London. I had stayed up all night perfecting the final presentation, but when it was time to share it, my file wouldn't open, my screen froze, everyone stared. Boxes of faces, blinking. "Isabella," the client said coldly, "are you prepared or not?" My face flushed, my throat closed up. Mr. Laurent took over the call. He didn't scold me, but he looked disappointed afterward. He said, "Let's discuss tomorrow." That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the cracked ceiling paint. No tears, just emptiness. The next morning, I walked into the office without greeting anyone. I opened my inbox. The deadline had moved up. The budget had been cut. A team member had resigned. I closed my laptop. Around me, people chatted, laughed, sipped cortados. But I felt like I wasn't there, like I was underwater, watching it all in silence. I walked to the restroom, locked the door, sat on the tiled floor, and whispered, "No puedo más." I can't do this anymore. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was just honest. I sat there a long time. My hands were numb. My back ached. I wished someone would knock, ask, "Are you all right?" But no one did. After 10 minutes, I got up, washed my face, looked in the mirror. My eyes were sunken. My mouth was tight. I didn't recognize myself. I went back to my desk, answered emails, not because I felt better, but because I wasn't ready to give up. That evening, I took the metro home. The sky over the city was gray. My head throbbed. I thought about quitting, moving to another country, maybe opening a bookstore in Lisbon or teaching Spanish in Seoul. When I got home, I didn't turn on the lights. I sat on the couch, and then I cried, not wildly, just Soft tears like my body had finally exhaled. Then a buzz, a message from my neighbor, Anya, who lived in the flat across the hall. Hey, are you okay? Haven't seen you in days. Want to come over for chai? I stared at it, then my fingers typed. Yes, I'd like that. Anya was in her 30s too. We weren't close, but she was kind. Sometimes she brought me leftover samosas. Sometimes I held the door when her hands were full of shopping bags. That night, we sat on her tiny balcony under a fleece blanket. She brewed cardamom chai. The lights of the city blinked below. You look tired, she said gently. I nodded, and I told her about the project, about the pressure, about how I felt like I was vanishing. She didn't interrupt. She just listened. Then she said, remember that little plan I gave you? I blinked. The tiny one in the blue ceramic pot. It's a sansevieria, a snake plant. Doesn't need much water, grows slow, but steady. Even in drought it lives. She smiled softly. You're like that plant. You're not weak. You're just in a dry season. Her words stayed with me that night. I checked the plant on my windowsill. I hadn't watered it in weeks. But it was still alive, so was I. I wrote a small note to myself. Just tiny goals, nothing grand. Brush your hair, drink water, text someone, go outside for 5 minutes. The next day, I followed it. Not perfectly, but I tried. Work was still chaotic. But I started asking for help. I told Mr. Laurent. I was overwhelmed. He didn't judge me. He assigned another PM to help. He said, you're not alone. Slowly, I had small victories. A bug fixed, a colleague said. Thanks. I made my bed. The weight in my chest wasn't gone, but it was lighter. Weeks passed. Every day still felt steep, but I kept climbing. One Tuesday morning, I arrived early. The office was quiet, coffee brewing, a soft Spanish ballad playing in the background. I opened the rollout folder. There was a massive task waiting. Normally, I'd avoid it, but that day, I just started step by step. By the time my team arrived, most of it was done. Later, Mr. Laurent passed my desk. I read your update. He said, strong progress, keep going. He smiled. I smiled back. That evening, I lit a candle, cooked warm. Lentil soup, ate slowly, no phone, no laptop, just me. I started replying to friends. Even met Claire, an old university friend, for coffee in Elborn. When I told her a little about work, she said simply, I'm proud of you. One morning, the train was delayed. A young woman next to me dropped her croissant and coffee. Por supuesto, she muttered. Of course today. I bent to help. I've had days like that. She looked up, surprised. I have a big interview, and now. I smiled gently. You'll do great. Just breathe, one breath at a time. She nodded. Gracias. And just like that, I realized I wasn't drowning anymore. I was floating slowly, but upward. 2 weeks later, we finished the launch. No explosions, no chaos, just quiet satisfaction, the client said. Looks good, we're happy. After the meeting, I sat alone. The chairs were empty, and I smiled. Mr. Lawrence stopped by my desk. You did well, he said. Better than I expected. I laughed softly. I didn't expect it either. You've got more in you than you think, he replied. That night, I walked home through the lights of Barcelona. The city was noisy, but inside I felt calm. Outside my door was a small package, a note from Anya. Thought of you when I saw this. Inside was a little green notebook with gold letters, little victories. I opened the first page and wrote, I finished the project. I didn't give up. I'm proud of myself. The next morning, I danced while making pancakes. I hadn't done that in months. Later that week, I messaged Claire again. Want to meet up next Saturday? She replied, can't wait. Somewhere along the way, I had changed, not into someone perfect, but someone still standing. One day, Mr. Laurent called me in again. We're opening a role for senior PM next quarter. I think you should apply. I blinked. Me? He nodded. You've earned it. That night, I opened the notebook again and wrote, I might apply for a promotion. Then I almost gave up, but I didn't, and that is enough. If this story touched something inside you, I'd love for you to leave a comment or share it with someone who might need it. There are more simple human stories on the way because the quiet moments matter. And so do you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.